Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking to you about how to get over your crush. So, obviously, getting over a crush can be very difficult because I completely understand because this is what I used to be like when I was a teenager. Now, you might not necessarily be as bad as what I was, or you might be even better. You might be nearly at the end where you're kind of like feeling like you're ready to get over them and stuff like that. But it can be very difficult because I think you really can develop a strong attachment to someone from afar. But what's the important thing to realize here is that you've only really been observing them from afar. You've only really been, maybe you're the kind of friends, maybe you've been talking a little bit, but at the end of the day, until you're actually in a relationship with someone, you don't really know what you have on your hands, right? Until you start living with them and you spend a lot of time with them, that's when you really start to know who someone actually is. So, with that being said, even though you have strong feelings to them, even though they might be a 10 out of 10 when it comes to their looks, you don't know what it's like to be around them a lot. You don't know, they could have a lot of bad habits. They could be mean. You don't really know, until you actually really start living with them. So that helps you kind of get over them to a degree. Like thinking about that really does help. Thinking, you know what, I could be actually if this actually worked out with them and we got into a relationship and I started living with them, you know, they could turn out to be absolutely mad, right? So that helps, because you don't know. You kind of have that faith and that belief that, if they're not into me, if they're not reciprocating any feelings towards me, my crush doesn't like me back, or for whatever reason, perhaps you can't really approach your crush. Perhaps it's just an inappropriate kind of crush, like someone who's like in a position of power, or might be someone who's like a work colleague who's a bit high up or something. You're just an inappropriate relationship, which, can happen a lot, inappropriate crushes, I should say. So, when this kind of thing happens and you want to get over them, it's really good to consider, and feel like, this is just how it's meant to be, right? This is just what was meant to happen. If I was supposed to be with them, if we were supposed to be in a relationship, if something romantic was supposed to happen between us, then it would have. They would have had the same feelings for me, the stars would have aligned and we would have got together, kind of thing. So that's the beginning advice, kind of like the mindset you should have. First, the first thing is realizing that, hey, I haven't spent a lot of time with them. I don't know what it's like to live with them, because when you live with someone, it's a lot different than when you're just dating them and you're hanging out once a week, or you're just hanging out. When you start actually living with someone, it's a whole different story, and it's difficult. And sometimes some people who you start living with just aren't gonna tick all the boxes. It's just not gonna take the test of time. Basically, it's just not gonna last, because they might be really annoying. They might do a lot of stuff that you hate. They might not be able to do anything. Perhaps you'll end up doing everything. You'll have to do all the cooking, the cleaning, everything. Perhaps they're completely useless, right? So you have to kind of take that into consideration. Okay, and secondly, realizing that, hey, if this was meant to be, then it would have happened. If this crush was meant to go and lead anywhere, then it would have happened, right? So you got to kind of have that mindset. Obviously, a lot easier said than done. Sometimes you can have a really strong crush on someone, but I think that kind of helps. I think that kind of softens the blow a bit. So in terms of the actions you should take to get over them, like something actually you can actually do something tangible, because obviously those were just mindset shifts. This is something you can think about intellectually to yourself. So something you can actually do then is to actually just start finding new people that you can date. Go to places that you like going to, events that you're actually interested in. So if you like, spooky stuff and you're into like ghost stuff, see if there's any like ghost tours that you could join, and try and make friends that way. If you're into exercise, perhaps you really like martial arts, and go to martial arts classes and start speaking to people there. Go to events, go to groups, join groups that you're actually interested in, right? That you actually like, right? And that's one of the best ways you can meet people who are like-minded, because a lot of people think like, oh yeah, if I'm like, especially when you're like at a certain age, like when you're at the college age, or the university age, depending on what country you're from, you think, oh, the way for me to meet girls or the way for me to meet new guys is I gotta go out to the club. I gotta go out and get drunk and, mingle and stuff like that. And although that can work to a degree, if you're trying to find someone to settle down with, it can be very difficult to find those kinds of people in those certain settings. And the reason why that is because, well, when you go to a nightclub and you go to somewhere where people are really drunk, if you start trying to chat up someone, there could be a chance that they're just so drunk that they won't even remember you the next day. There's a chance that, you have zero things in common. There's a chance that when you actually are speaking to them, they can't hear you properly because the music is so loud. So it's better to actually meet people where you can have a conversation with them properly. And obviously, there's also the online alternatives, the online dating apps and websites that will be useful if you're trying to find love. And, finding someone else is probably the best thing for you because obviously you weren't in a relationship with them. So, in a way, you don't really need to get over them because you never really knew them to begin with. And I mean that because of one of the first points I said, because when you enter a relationship with someone, you become very intimate with them because you know all of their little idiosyncrasies, their little flaws, the things that they do, their quirks, you become very integrated. But when it's just a crush, what you're crushing on really here is just the surface level stuff, because if you meet them at work or you meet them at school, usually they are putting their best foot forward. You don't know what it's like to be around them when they're just being a slob at home, right? So it's the surface level that you're falling in love with. It's the surface level that you're having a crush on, which is important to have when you first start dating someone, and then you eventually get into a relationship. You start learning more about them, but because you are only in love with the surface level, you don't really need to get over it as much, right, as you would if you knew this person for a long time and you were together for a long time. So that doesn't matter so much. It's okay for you to go and start dating other people pretty much immediately because, this crush was just literally a surface level thing because that's what most crushes are like. Unless it's a case of you trying to get over your ex, but this isn't about that. This is all about people that have crushes that struggle to get over them. So, go out and find new people to date. That's the best advice that I can possibly give you. And just, when it comes to this crush, you just got to realize that, hey, you know what? Perhaps I dodged a bullet. You just got to think that way. Otherwise, you're just going to go crazy, right? If you feel like you really missed out on something. So it's best to just switch your thoughts to thinking, well, you know what? If this was meant to be, it was meant to be. And leave it at that. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Obviously, right now, the holidays are approaching, so I might not be able to reply to you until after Christmas or after New Year's. So please do be patient with me. I'll try to get back to you as fast as I possibly can. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye, guys.